Hey guys, it's Natalie and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be doing part 2 of my book haul, and it's a massive book haul, I'm not gonna lie, because if you've seen part 1, you already know that it's pretty big. And then I also have 5 gigantic book outlet boxes. So over the past like 3 months, I have ordered 5 times from Book Outlet. Sponsor me. I absolutely love Book Outlet. It's basically an amazing website where they sell extremely discounted books because they're usually like overstock from other stores that have too many of it and they need to get rid of it. So they sell them to Book Outlet and they sell those books at extremely discounted prices. And a lot of the time, those prices are a lot lower than Amazon prices. So I absolutely love Book Outlet, and every time I see deals on there, I just like literally cannot contain myself. I have no shelf control, as we on BookTube like to say. So like I said, I have 5 massive Book Outlet boxes, so let's get right into it. So starting off with the smallest box, and I can't believe I'm saying this box is small, but let's open it up and see what's inside. I lost my scissors. I really hope I don't accidentally cut one of the books because I've definitely done that before. I ordered this really nice hardcover box set of one of my favorite series of all time, and I accidentally cut one of the books when I was opening it, so it was really sad. So there's a little like coupon in here. It says $4 off when you spend $20 or more. Thank you, Book Outlet, for encouraging me to spend more money on your website. It actually comes with like a little Book Outlet bookmark, and I've never gotten that before, so like that's really cute. Also on Book Outlet, I don't know if I mentioned before, but they're basically doing a 15% off of everything sale. So they have 15% off of already extremely low prices. So that's kind of why I bought all this stuff, and I just feel like I need to supply my bookshelf for like the rest of the year so I don't have to buy any more books. So that's what we're doing. So the first one that I see here is Notes on a Nervous Planet by Matt Haig, and this one is a nonfiction, and it basically just talks about how to stay sane in a world that is so crazy and constantly changing and full of so much technology. So I'm really interested to read this one because I heard Whitney over at Witty Novels talk about this. So I'll link her channel down below if you're interested. I absolutely love her videos, especially her vlogs, and I think she read this in one of her vlogs and that's why I wanted to pick it up. But yeah, I saw this for a really good price on Book Outlet in the paperback edition, so I was like, why not? It's a really scary time in the world right now, so I feel like this would be really good to read. So the next thing I see is a graphic novel, and that is American Born Chinese by Jean Luen Yang, and this one is a graphic novel that is about a boy named Jin Wang who is from Taiwan, and he basically goes to school for the first time in America, and it's basically about him learning to fit in but also be himself. And I think this is going to be a really like harrowing but also really cute immigrant story. And if you guys don't know, I'm a quarter Chinese, so I'm always interested to hear more Chinese stories and Asian stories in general. So I'm really excited to read this one. The art style is really, really cute, and I just can't wait to read this one. So up next I have The Lost Daughters of China by Karen Evans, and this one is a nonfiction about Karen Evans and her adoption process through China. And this basically discusses the history of the one-child rule in China and how that has affected the adoption relationship between China and America. So I feel like this is going to be really interesting. It's definitely a part of Chinese history that I've always been interested to read about. So yeah, I'm super excited to read this one. I apologize if you can hear my AC unit outside my window. I hope it isn't too loud. But the next book I have is None of the Above by I.W. Gregorio, and this one follows a main character who is intersex, and I've never read a story with an intersex character, and I'm always really curious to read any LGBT literature. And I'm not sure if this is Own Voices or not. This follows a girl named Kristen who is voted homecoming queen, and I believe that she gets outed as intersex, and it basically just shakes up the whole school, and it affects her deeply in how she accepts her identity. So I'm really interested to read this one, and yeah, I've heard nothing but good things about it, and I hope to read this next month for Pride Month. So up next I have The Good Luck Girls by Charlotte Nicole Davis, and this one is a YA story that follows, I believe, 4 or 5 different girls, and they each bring something different to the group that they're in, and they basically escape from this really bad house that they're all living in, and they just go on this journey to find freedom. And I'm just really interested to read this one because I heard this is like a Western style fantasy and that it's also queer, so I'm just here for that, and I just can't wait to read it. This cover is absolutely stunning, and I can't wait to read it. So yeah. Okay, so up next I have The Liars of Mariposa Island by Jennifer Mathieu, and this one is a YA story, and I've read something by Jennifer Mathieu before. I read Moxie by her in March, which is a feminist YA novel that I absolutely loved, so I wanted to pick up more of her stuff, and this one I think is her newest release, and it follows two different timelines, one in the 1950s with a main character called Caridad, and then there's a character in 1986 and her name is Elena. So it kind of talks about how their stories intersect, and it also talks about family drama a lot, and it's just about like summer on this little island and there's like drama. That's all I really know about it, but I'm really interested to read it. So yeah. So up next I have This Is What It Feels Like by Rebecca Barrow, and this one I believe is a YA story about a bunch of girls who are in a band, and I think two of them are in like a queer relationship. So that's really all I know about it, and that's why I wanted to get it, because I was like, queer girls in a band, okay, you got me, I'm sold. So yeah, I'm super excited to read this one. Hopefully I'll get to it next month for Pride Month. So yeah. Okay, so the last book I have in that box is The Weight of Our Sky by Hannah Alkoff, and this one is a YA story that takes place in the 1960s when the Chinese and the Malaysians were at war, and it basically follows our main character, I believe, trying to find her mother during the war while everything around her is like crumbling. And that's all I really know about it, but I've heard really good things about this book. So yeah, I'm super interested to read this one. Okay, now we're moving on to the next box. Another very large box, but you know what? It's fine. Okay, this is like kind of already open, and I don't know why. Okay, so this box, I remember specifically, I themed it around romance. This was like the first order that I placed before like quarantine happened and everything like that, and it's basically just like romance books, so let's get into it. So the first one I have is From Twinkle with Love by Sandhya Menon, and Sandhya Menon is one of my favorite YA authors ever, and she basically just writes really cute contemporary, usually romance stories, and they all have Indian characters, which I believe is Own Voices rep. So I just love her books. They're so cute and fluffy, and they also infuse a lot of Indian culture that I just love to learn about. So yeah, I absolutely love Sandhya Menon's books, and I'm just so excited to have another book by her. I have, I think, 4 of her books now, so I just love her stuff. Definitely check her out. So up next I have Saints and Misfits by S.K. Ali, and S.K. Ali is an author who I love. I read Love from A to Z by her, I believe, in January, and I absolutely loved it. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. Like Sandhya Menon's work, she infuses a lot of culture but also romance into her stories. S.K. Ali specifically also talks about racism a lot in her books as well, and Islamophobia, because her characters are usually Muslim. So I just absolutely love her books, and I can't wait to have another one. I'm so excited to read this one. I don't really know anything about it, but I just wanted to read more from S.K. Ali, so yeah. So up next I have one that's actually not a romance book, but I forgot I ordered it in this order, and that is Girls on the Verge by Sharon Biggs Waller. This one is a book that I read in March for Women's History Month, and this one basically is a YA contemporary following a girl who has to leave the state of Texas in order to get an abortion, and it's definitely a harrowing story, but I absolutely loved it. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars, and it's really short and really informative, so I would definitely recommend checking this one out no matter what your stance is, because she covers a lot of bases with this one in my opinion. So yeah, I absolutely loved this book, and I just wanted to own it physically, so I picked this one up. So now we're moving on to like the adult romance part of this box, and the first one I see is The Matchmaker's List by Sonia Lali, and this one is in, I believe, Own Voices Indian rep story, and it basically follows a girl whose grandmother kind of like plays the town matchmaker, and so I think it's basically just about her grandma like setting her up with all these different different guys and her just kind of like figuring out what she wants and kind of paving her own path, but also following tradition at the same time. So I'm just really interested to read this one. I've heard really good things about it and I just really love the cover. I think it's so cute. So yeah. So up next I have BookTube's favorite adult romance, and that is The Hating Game by Sally Thorne. This one is an enemies to lovers office romance that everyone on BookTube talks about and absolutely loves. So I had to pick it up just because everyone says they love it so much. So up next I have The Good Luck Charm by Helena Hunting, and I've actually never read anything by Helena Hunting. But I've heard really good things about her stuff, and I think Haley over at Haley in Bookland maybe has read something by Helena Hunting and she really liked her stuff. I'll link Haley's channel down below. She reads a lot of adult romance now, and so I've been getting some recommendations from her. But yeah, I've heard nothing but good things about this and I can't wait to get into it. I'm sorry if I'm like running out of adjectives to describe these books. I probably sound so basic, but I literally just cannot think of more words to describe these books. So up next I have Pride, Prejudice, and Other Flavors by Sonali Dev, and this one is an Indian retelling of Pride and Prejudice, and that just sounds amazing and I'm so excited to read this. I've actually heard really good things about this book, and I think this is set up to be like either a duology or trilogy of like Indian romances based around Jane Austen books, which sounds absolutely fantastic. So yeah, I'm so excited to read this one. I think it also has a lot to do with cooking because, you know, it says like about flavors and there's like a little cooking pot. So yeah, super excited to read this one. So the last romance I have in this box is My Favorite Half Night Stand by Christina Lauren. And I read one Christina Lauren book, I think in March, and it was The Unhoneymooners, and I absolutely loved it, and I definitely wanted to pick up more of their stuff because they write a lot of books, and I thought, you know, I'm just gonna pick this one up. I think it was like $3, so like, okay. So yeah, I literally have no idea what this is about, but I just really like Christina Lauren stuff, so yeah. Moving on to a slightly larger box. This one is bigger than the other two that I've had so far, so let's get into it. I don't know what I'm doing. This one is like really heavy. I'm really curious to see what's in here. I'm making a fucking mess. Okay, so the first thing I see in here is A Dream So Dark by L.L. McKinney. This is a sequel to A Blade So Black, and I actually bought A Blade So Black, and it's in one of these other boxes. Let's not get my address on camera, thank you. But anyways, yeah, this is the sequel to A Blade So Black, which is basically a Black Alice in Wonderland retelling, which, okay, I had to get it. So I actually haven't read either of these books, but I want to, and the third book in the trilogy is coming out in January, so perfect timing. So yeah, I'm super excited to read this series. I've heard nothing but good things about it, and I'm so here for these POC retellings. I'm just... Okay, up next I have Crown of Thunder by Tochi Onyebuchi, and this is the sequel to Beasts Made of Night by Tochi Onyebuchi, and the first book is in one of these boxes somewhere. But yeah, this is the sequel. I decided to buy it because I don't like starting series when I don't have like the next book lined up and ready to go, so that's why I have the sequel to A Blade So Black and a sequel to Beasts Made of Night. So yeah, I literally have no idea what this series is about, but I've heard really good things about it. I believe from Aphrodite Reads. I'll link her channel down below, but I believe she talked about Beast Made of Night and she absolutely loved it, so I decided to pick this up. And yeah, I'm super excited to read this one. So up next I have one that I am so excited about, and that is Girls Made of Snow and Glass by Melissa Bashardist. And this one is a queer Snow White retelling. Oh my god, I was so excited when I heard the premise of this book. Like, you had me at queer Snow White retelling. That's all I needed to know about this book. I just had to buy it. So yeah, I want to read this one for Pride Month. I've heard a certain booktuber talk about it. I forgot what her name is. I think her channel is like Problems of a Book Nerd maybe, but she always talks about great queer books on her channel, so I'll link her channel down below. But yeah, I'm so excited to read this one. I'm so here for this. Okay, so the last thing I have in here, which is why this box was so heavy, and that is the Shadowhunters short story collection by Cassandra Clare. This has The Bane Chronicles, Tales from the Shadowhunter Academy, and Ghosts of the Shadow Market. So these are all 3 of the novella bind-ups in the Shadowhunters universe, and I think this was only like $20, maybe less, for all 3 of these hardcover books in a slipcase, and I feel like that is a really good price, and I'm so happy that I was able to snag this. But yeah, so I'm super excited to have this, and I can't wait to get farther into the series. Okay, sisters, we've got 2 boxes left, so I have one more of those like small boxes, so let's open it up. I feel like I'm ripping the umbilical cord off of a giant box baby. Okay, let's get into this box. So the first thing I see here is Reality Boy by A.S. King. And A.S. King is one of those authors who I've never read before, but I've heard really good things about, so I just keep buying all her books. I've heard Kayla over at Books and Lala talk about A.S. King so much because it's one of her favorite authors. So I'll link Kayla's channel down below. If you don't know about her channel, you must be living under a rock because she has so many subscribers. But anyways, yeah, she always talks about how much she loves A.S. King. So I've just been slowly compiling her books. I think this is my 3rd one of hers. So yeah, I'm super excited to finally read some A.S. King, but yeah. So up next I have Romeo and Juliet by William Shakespeare, and I haven't read Romeo and Juliet since high school, and I don't even know if I remember liking it in high school, but I want to start incorporating other forms of media into my reading habits, like manga, graphic novels, plays, and everything like that. And I actually really liked the movie adaptation that had Leonardo DiCaprio in it, so I'm really interested to reread this. I think I got this because I want to do a series on my channel where I read like books that I really enjoyed in high school or like middle school, so that's why I picked this one up. Also because I just really like that cover. So yeah, super excited to have this classic on my shelf. So up next I have volumes 3, 4, and 5 of Toradora by Yuyoko Takamiya and Zekio, and this is a manga, and I've actually never read the manga of this before, but I've seen the anime and I absolutely loved the anime. It's one of my favorite like slice of life animes of all time. I actually hauled the first 2 volumes in the first part of this book haul, so if you haven't watched that video yet, I'll link it down below. But yeah, this is volumes 3, 4, and 5, and I'm just so excited to read the story again. It's been so long. So up next I have Scandalous Women, The Lives and Loves of History's Most Notorious Women by Elizabeth Carey Mahon. And this one is basically just a non-fiction like biography type thing almost about scandalous women throughout history, and it's got Gertrude Bell, Ida B. Wells, Cleopatra, and Emily du Châtelet. I don't know, it's French. But anyways, yeah, this is just about like women who are notorious for being like scandalous in their time. So I'm always down to read like more feminist literature. So yeah, that's why I picked this one up. So up next I have Girl Squad's 20 Female Friendships That Changed History by Sam Maggs, illustrated by Jen Woodall. And so this is basically just about a bunch of different female friendships that changed history. And there's artists, athletes, doctors, divers, writers, rebels, warriors, women, and friends. So like I said, I'm always interested to read more feminist literature, so that's why I decided to pick this one up. And I really love the cover, it's so pretty. So yeah, I'm so excited to read this one. So up next I have Riot Baby by Toshi Onyebuchi, and this one is a novella, I believe also published by Tor. If you guys didn't watch my last video or my last book haul, I talked about Tor, which is a publishing company that puts out a lot of novellas, and I was right that this one was published by Tor. And this one basically tackles racism and incarceration and systemic racism. So I'm really interested to read this one. I heard Kayla over at Books and Lala talk about it. Like I said, I'll link her channel down below, but I'm super interested to read this one, so yeah. So up next I have Gloria O'Brien's History of the Future by A.S. King. Like I said before, I picked up some A.S. Kings because they had them on Book Outlet for like $2. So I decided to pick this one up, and I've heard nothing but good things about A.S. King, like I said. And I will also link Kayla's channel down below, who A.S. King, you know, is one of her favorite authors, and why I decided to pick up her books. So yeah, super excited to add another one to my collection. So up next I have Screen Queens by Lori Goldstein. This one is a YA contemporary about a bunch of girls who are like paving their way in Silicon Valley, if I'm not mistaken. And I plan on reading this for a certain video I do where I read tropes that I hate. So yeah, super interested to read this one. Okay, so up next I have Kingdom of the Blazing Phoenix by Julie C. Dow. This is the sequel to A Forest of a Thousand Lanterns by Julie C. Dow, which I'm actually currently reading for the Asian Readathon. So if you haven't seen my May TBR video, I will link that down below. But anyways, yeah, I'm so excited to finish the first one, move on to the second one, and I also have like the 2.5 novel in this like duology. So yeah, I'm super excited to own this one. I just absolutely love the cover. It's stunning. So up next I have Summerbird Blue by Akemi Dawn Bowman, and this one is a YA contemporary that follows a girl who is struggling with grief, I think because her sister might have passed away. And I believe the main character is also Arrow Ace, if I'm not mistaken, so I'm definitely interested to read this one. I've heard nothing but good things about this author, and this cover is just absolutely stunning, so can't wait to read this one. So the last book I have in this box is Beastmeat of Night by Tochi Onyebuchi, and this one is a fantasy, a YA fantasy that I heard Heather over at Aphrodite Reads talk about. Like I said, I'll link her channel down below. But I literally have no idea what this is about, but she just said it was good, so I decided to pick it up. So yeah. Okay, so we are on the very last, very heavy box. And I remember that I themed this purchase around YA fantasy books that I really wanted. So we have a bunch of YA fantasy books, so let's get into it.
Last box, finally. I'm sweating really bad.
Okay, so the first book I see on the top is Warrior of the Wild by Trisha Levenseller, and I read, what is that book called? The Shadows Between Us by Trisha Levenseller in March, and I absolutely loved it. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars, and so I was definitely interested to pick up something else by her. I'm not interested in the Daughter of the Pirate King series because I heard there's like an unavenged rape in that book, and I don't want to read about that. So I decided to pick up this one instead, and this one has to do with a badass Viking girl main character, and I'm here for it. So yeah, super excited to have this one. So up next I have another Tor novella, and that is The Monster of Ellenhaven by Jennifer Giesbrecht. And this one is a horror novella that has a gay main character, if I'm not mistaken. And I heard really good things about this. I believe this was in Boston's queer recommendations video. So like I said, I'll link her channel down below because she has really good queer recommendations on her channel. So yeah, that's all I know about this one, is that it's a horror novella with a gay main character. What more could I want? Okay, so up next I have one that I actually ordered in hardcover, so I'm not sure why it's in paperback, but that is Red Queen by Victoria Aveyard, and this one is a YA fantasy series that I've heard nothing but good things about. I literally have no idea what this is about, but I just have been in the mood for YA fantasy, so I decided to pick up a lot of YA fantasy. But yeah, I don't know why this is in paperback because I ordered it in hardcover, because if you can't tell by this video, I really like hardcovers. So yeah, that's weird, but you know what? It's fine. So up next I have And I Darken by Kirsten White, and I literally have no idea what this is about, but I've heard everybody and their mother on BookTube talk about the series and say that they absolutely love it, so I'm here for it. I also really like the cover. This is a lot bigger than I was expecting it to be. I have no idea how many pages this is. Oh, it's over 450 pages, which I wasn't really expecting. But yeah, nonetheless, super excited to read this one. Yeah. Okay, so up next I have We Set the Dark on Fire by Taylor K. Mejia. And this one, all I know is that it is a fantasy with a sapphic relationship, and I have heard every queer child on all of Goodreads talk about how much they love this book, so I decided to pick it up. And like I said, that's all I really know about it, but I heard it's really good, and the cover is really pretty. So okay, so up next I actually have a middle grade fantasy, and that is The Keeper of Lost Cities by Shannon Messenger, and this is like actually a pretty long series, if I'm not mistaken. There's like over 5 books in the series, and they're all actually like pretty decently sized, but I've heard everybody talk about this on BookTube and say how much they love it, and I heard it's like good enough to rival Harry Potter or the Percy Jackson series, so like I'm interested. So yeah, it looks really cute and I really like the cover. So yeah. So up next I have A River of Royal Blood by Amanda Joy, and this one is kind of a newer release. I think this came out like maybe the end of last year, so it's kind of newer. And this one is just a YA fantasy about two sisters who I believe battle it out for the crown, and it's like an African inspired fantasy. So I'm really interested to read this one. I heard this is good for fans of Children of Blood and Bone by Tomi Adeyemi, which I absolutely loved. So hopefully I like this one. I really like the cover. It's really cool and it's very shiny. So yeah. Oh, so I have one book in here that actually like isn't a fantasy book, and that is Girls Like Us by Randy Pink. And this is about 4 girls, I believe in the 1970s, who all become pregnant and the different like stories surrounding each of their pregnancies. And I think this has a little bit to do with abortion also. I'm not 100% sure. It just sounds like a really good feminist read. I'm interested. I also really like the cover, like girl gang. Okay. But anyways, yeah. I've never heard anybody talk about this book, but it looks really interesting, so. Okay, so up next I have a YA sci-fi actually, and that is This Mortal Coil by Emily Suvada. And this one is actually about, like, if I'm not mistaken, like genetic warfare. So maybe I shouldn't read this right now, like during COVID, so I probably won't. I've heard really good things about this sci-fi series, and I think that our main character is like a genetic hacker and she can like hack DNA, which sounds really cool. So yeah, I'm super interested to read this one. I really like the cover. It's very simple but also very cool and intriguing. So yeah, I really like this cover and I can't wait to read it. Okay, so up next I have Fate of the Fallen by Kel Cade. This one is an adult fantasy, and it basically is kind of like a satirical story that kind of does a play on the prophecy, like chosen one trope. And so it's like really funny, I heard. And yeah, that's all I really know about it. I'm just like here for the satire. So yeah, super interested to read this one. Okay, so my camera died, so I'm borrowing my sister's. Shh. But anyways, we're almost down to the bottom of the largest box in this video and in this haul in general. So the next one I have is A Blade So Black by Ella McKinney. Like I said, I already like hauled the sequel in the beginning of this video, but basically this is just a Black Alice in Wonderland retelling, which sounds so fucking awesome. So yeah, I love this cover and I just can't wait to read it. I absolutely love retellings, so yeah. So up next I have There Will Come a Darkness by Katie Rose Poole. This one is another YA fantasy, but there's like a cool map on the end pages, which I'm like totally here for. But anyways, yeah, this one is a YA fantasy, and I think this one's cool because it has like 5 different main characters, so like each chapter is like alternating between them. And that's all I really know about it, but it sounds really interesting. And I've had my eye on this one for a really long time. It's been on my TBR for a really long time. So yeah, super excited to read this one.
Watch this video from the beginning and take a shot every time I say can't wait to read this one. You'll probably be fucking wasted by the end.
But anyways, the next book I have is Into the Crooked Place by Alexandra Christo. And I think this one has to do with like a really like time warped weird town. I don't really know. I just heard this was good. I've heard good things about Alexandra Christo's stuff, and it's got a really pretty cover. So yeah, I've just heard good things about it. So you'll find that I don't know what a lot of these books are about. And that's because I just hear people on BookTube say they like it. I'm like, hell yeah, okay. So yeah, don't mind me over here.
Dumb bitch Betty don't know any of these fucking synopses.
Okay, so up next I have Wicked Fox by Kat Cho, and this one is a Korean-inspired fantasy that follows our main character, who I believe can change into a 9-tailed fox, which sounds really fucking cool. And I've heard just really good things about this. I heard Chloe talk about this over at Books with Chloe, so I'll link her channel down below. She says it has a really good Korean rep, and she absolutely loves this book, so like I said, I'll link her down below. But yeah, that's all I really know about it. But I really love the cover and it looks really cute. So yeah. So up next I have Hunted by Megan Spooner. This one is a YA fantasy retelling of Beauty and the Beast. And that's all I really know about it. But like I said, I love retellings. And so when I saw this one, I was like, okay. And I've heard a couple of people on BookTube talk about this book and say they enjoyed it. So I'm super interested to read this one. Okay, so up next I have another book by Tochi Onyebuchi, and that is War Girls. And this one is a YA sci-fi, and it has to do with like a civil war of some kind, and that's all I really know about it. But like, look at the cover. She has like a bionic arm, which is just so fucking cool. And I just haven't really read a lot of like sci-fi, like kind of apocalyptic stories, so I feel like I need to incorporate that more into my reading, so that's why I picked this one up. I've heard nothing but good things about this, so super excited to read it. We're almost to the end, guys. We've got 3 more books in this whole video. So the next one I have is Crown of Feathers by Nikki Palpretto, and this one is a YA fantasy that has to do with people, I believe, who can ride phoenixes, which sounds really cool. And I feel like you see a lot of like dragons in fantasy books, but you never see like phoenixes, so I'm like really excited to read this one. It's a lot bigger than I thought it was gonna be, but I really love this cover. It's absolutely gorgeous, and I can't wait to read it. Okay, so up next I have Beyond the Black Door by A.M. Strickland. This one is a YA fantasy that follows a girl who has the ability to, like, I believe, travel between people's dreams, and there's like this one door, a black door, that her mother told her never to go through, but being a teenage girl, she goes through it anyway. And also I believe this has a sexual rep, which sounds really cool, and I'm just really interested to read this one. I absolutely love the cover. It looks so cool. I feel like this is gonna be like so whimsical and dreamy, and I can't wait to read this one. I've heard nothing but good things about it. Okay, so the last book in this whole video is We Hunt the Flame by Hafsa Faisal, and this one is a YA fantasy inspired by ancient Arabia, which sounds absolutely fantastic. Just look at how gorgeous that cover is. Every time I look at this cover, I'm like, like it literally takes my breath away. It's so gorgeous. Like, look at the gold overlay. Oh my gosh, it's just so beautiful. I've heard nothing but good things about this, and just like the fact that this has to do with like ancient Arabia, like I'm so here for it. All right, ladies and gentle pants, I think that concludes my, oh my god, they're falling. Oh my god. Oh, they all fell. So I think that concludes my extremely large book haul. This concludes part 2. So like I said, if you haven't seen part 1, I will link that down below. I didn't really realize how many books I truly amassed over the past couple of months until I came to my parents' house and I saw all the boxes. Because like I said, a lot of these I actually ordered before the whole coronavirus thing happened, and they've just been sitting here at my parents' house. So yeah, I'm probably like equipped to read for the rest of the year, so any other books that I read will probably be from the library, because your girl's got a lot of books. So anyways, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I had a total of 81 books hauled in this video, which is ridiculous. But anyways, thank you guys so much. Leave a like, subscribe down below, and hit the notification bell if you don't want to miss a single upload, and have a great day. Bye!